deciding that you were going to move to Japan and
Mm,
being an otaku, and what was
mm.
that like? For you individually, and like how did your family like this nigga going to Japan? He think he Goku. What was that like for y'all?
I mean, you already know me. A lot of my family was military and living all over the country, anyways. So like, me saying I want to live abroad never raised an eye in my family, anyone I knew. And I was interested in moving to Japan before I was an otaku, so I never thought of Japan the way that like I read
For
about
real though,
a lot of
nigga. For
people.
you trying to tell me you was like 9 years old, like I'm about to go to Japan?
1,000%.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
Nigga, why? But
like
like
leave
what?
that in the yes, 1,000%. Yes.
Like what would I mean? I guess because your
uh
parents had lived there, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't
like
really.
my parents, nah, for real though, my parents lived in Japan and told me about Japan when I was a kid and said Japan's dope. So like when I was a kid, Japan was never like a mystical faraway land. It was that place my parents had fun at when I before I was around. And I'm like,
Mm.
bet, I'll go. I want to check it out. Sound dope,
Hmm.
you know? I like karate or whatever. My dad was showing me like Jackie Chan movies and Bruce Lee movies. I didn't associate being an otaku with visiting Japan. I associated like anime with better cartoons than what I was watching as a kid. And I was like, if that's what they make them in Japan, that's cool. What else they got going on over there? And like it turns out they got a lot of dope shit going on over here. And I was like, yeah. So even my first trip to Japan, I never had that weird culture shock imposter syndrome that like otakus and weebs describe. Like, it wasn't anything like my anime. I was like, yeah, no shit. It's a regular ass country. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
I
By the
realized
time
very quickly they do normal person shit here most of the time. And I never had the weird Asian fetish that so many weebs have had, otaku have had before. I don't know.
that's fair. By the time I first visited Japan, I was already living in Asia for several years. 10 years ago this year, and it was dope. I liked it. I didn't really think I was ever going to actually move here, but let's see. I visited in 2013, and then I moved in 2009. That's only 6 years. No, that's a 6 year. Yeah, no, no, it was
Hmm.
nice. But I already been living in Asia for like fucking a decade at that point, so there was no
Hmm.
culture shock left really to have.
I never really asked
Hmm.
you why you decided to move to China. Like, what was the initial
Oh,
interest?
I was a China boo, man. I was a huge China boo. I just really like the
Oh,
Chinese stuff. Um,
is that a thing?
it is a thing. It is a thing.
Huh.
there are there are. I mean, I liked kanji like a lot.
Mm.
I thought they were beautiful. I
Hmm.
liked classical Chinese music and Chinese movies, and I had a lot of Chinese classmates, so we would like go to like Chinese like festivals and stuff. Once a year and stuff. As far back as elementary school, there's a lot of Chinese stuff in my life, and I thought it was cool. And then in college, like I graduated, when the 2008 like crash happened, right? Like the economic crash, and I knew I wanted to go to China anyway, either mainland China or Taiwan. And I had already been. I had taught myself a good bit of Chinese at that point. I'd been watching a bunch of Chinese stuff. I had some Chinese what do you call them? Like exchange student friends, and uh, it was just a thing. I had liked Japan. I liked Japan first, but I felt like children like Japan, adults like China. That was what I had convinced myself of when I was like in college, and
Oh wow, you had like a Parisian phase, but for China, like
yeah,
French culture is so better, and you're like, oh
yeah,
no.
really. And it was like anything I would like about Japan comes from China ultimately. So clearly, China is where all the cool shit is. And I do very much still love China, but I love a China that doesn't really exist anymore. But that's a story for another day.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always saw countries as real places where things happened and humans lived, so I never had a moment like that. I never
I mean,
thought I never thought like if I move to Japan it'll be better. I never thought I'll be so popular and cool in Japan. I never thought, man, Japan is such a better country than America. I always thought like, nah, I want to go see what's up over there. Like what they doing over
Hmm.
there.
I,
I've never had that weird disassociative. But you know what it is also? I grew up in a small town with like no culture. So I wanted to leave that suburban wasteland. So I always knew I don't want to live
Mhm.
here. So I was never attached to the notion that like Japan is
Oh yeah.
better because everywhere is better than where I live. So like duh, like I want to go
Oh yeah.
everywhere, you know.
I mean, like it was kind of twofold, right? So I'm from, I mean, not even really a first world country. Like I'm from absolute squalor. It's really hard to exaggerate how much of a not a country, like not a first world country, Louisiana is, and how much it wasn't at that time. It
Damn.
Mhm.
is. It is just not. It's just not like America. Like I really can't. Ooh, it's bad. And I knew I wanted to leave. And I was particular. I grew up very poor as well. So like I was in this like shithole place, and I was destitute, and like as a young child I knew I wanted to leave. Anywhere was better than there. But as a child I really fell in love with like
Mhm.
Asia. Like I just really wanted to be surrounded by Asian shit. Like I just knew that was something that I wanted, and I also knew that I was never going to be accepted as a local, and I was okay with that. So it's like if I'm never going to belong, then I might as well like some shit about the place I'm going to live, right? And that
Yeah.
yeah, that was just kind of that was my approach to living in Asia.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
Mhm.
always like from the
So
moment I first came to Japan, it was easy enough to live here. I was like, "Oh, I get it. This is a night this kind of lifestyle suits me. I don't have to like I'll never belong, but I don't have to try to fit in. I don't have to try to get along. I get it. It just
mhm.
suits my tendencies and my disposition and whatever, and I don't have to think about it. I just it's very normalized to me very quickly.
But yeah, King came
Mhm.
from a very different situation. For one, you didn't miss the 2010s in America; you actually experienced them. At least the vast majority
Yeah.
of the 2010s, you were actually there for that. And you came here with, kind of like with someone else, So that's a whole,
Uh-huh.
thing.
Well, my whole thing is kind of like a long because I don't have a good answer as to what brought me here, but I do have a lot of small things like so this like, well y'all mentioned it a little bit like early age stuff. For me at an early age, I didn't really understand the concept of countries. To be honest, like which was weird because
That is
I
somehow
loved
really freeing.
maps.
I love it.
I loved maps. Like I loved looking at maps. I don't know why. I would just stare at maps and just like look at places on the map. Like, oh, look at this place. Look at this. I just thought they were interesting, but I just didn't get countries. Even though I would travel to Haiti. Well, technically only my mother's home, but I'll say my parents' home. Like very every so often, it felt like I went into a plane and we just teleported to another place in the world, and that's where my family's home was. And
That
I
is
just
so
never thought of it
wholesome. I
as
love it.
I
I
know.
never
It's so
I never thought
cute.
of it as a country. Um, it wasn't until later where I started to realize, oh, these are like very distinct places. They have their own set of rules. Everything is very, very, very different. And like I knew they were different, but but the first time I really thought about Japan, 'cause I never really thought about anime as being from Japan until way later, because reasons I'm not getting into it, but the first time, I think my first time really thinking about Japan was like I was in elementary school and I had a science teacher, and she would go to Japan once a year to teach, and she did a thing where for I think it was about a week or so, maybe a bit longer, where she treated our class like it was a Japanese class. So the whole like taking your shoes off, cleaning the classroom, like she treated us like we were Japanese students. And that was my first real interaction with like Japanese culture. And I was like, "Oh shit, this is kind of fun. This is interesting. I want to learn more." And then I did it. I did it. I didn't like do any other research. I was just like, and then like my next interaction was probably like it was like years later. I got extreme. I was already into anime, but I got deep into anime where end of high school, beginning of college, I
Naruto
watched
running.
nothing. I went. I never did that because I actually no joke. Like I loved Naruto. I loved Naruto, and there was a kid who was just he was all I could say he was gross, which
Oh, his
pissed me
name was
off.
his name was King, and he didn't know he did the Naruto run.
No, he was no. I mean, like, yo, he was straight up like the thing that pissed me off is that we both liked all the same shit. Like, we should have been best friends, but he was just so aggravating,
Cringe.
so cringe, and he wouldn't shower. Like one time, like he was technically in our he was technically in our friend groups, my group of friends, and on his birthday we bought him a Yu-Gi-Oh shower set. Where like the
Hey
Yu-Gi-Oh,
yo, what?
yeah, we bought him a
Hey,
Yu-Gi-Oh shower set. Yo,
Y'all were wildin'.
he got so fucking pissed off. I'm just like, yo, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh. We love Yu-Gi-Oh. What the
That
fuck?
was funny.
Y'all was wrong though. Y'all was
Y'all were
wrong.
all the way out of pocket on
Wrong.
that. Like y'all had to plan that. Y'all had to put money together. Hey,
Yeah. Yo,
y'all had to
that's
ask for a ride to the
Yep.
store.
yep. Oh my god.
Hey yo.
But yeah, no. I literally stopped watching Naruto because of him. I loved Naruto, but he was like so cringy. I couldn't like. I gave up on it for a while, and I got back into it later. And like,
Okay, so no, go ahead.
no, but yeah, end of high school, beginning of college, I like exclusively watched anime, nothing but anime. And when I was switching colleges, I went to a community college at first and was going to a 4-year college. They had a required language, and I was just like, I'm tired of doing French and Spanish every year. I want to do a different language. I love anime. Might as well do Japanese. Found out my school had a Japan club as well. I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to meet some Japanese people. It was just a bunch of weebs and like some East Asians watching anime.
Oh, no.
But there were no
Aw.
Japanese people there as well.
No.
But it was a fun experience. It got me way deeper into like Japanese culture. I found this great Japanese. I can't even call it a supermarket. It's a Japanese supermarket that has several Japanese restaurants inside and several different like Japanese bookstores and a bunch of things there. And I would go there every so often.
That's what like Japanese stores do in other countries. So they set up like these little like basically little like malls that have like there's a grocery store, usually like a bakery, also like just all these different like shopping places. You know what I mean? I don't know why they do that, but I guess probably for local Japanese residents.
Yeah. There aren't that many Japanese people especially in the Northeast. So I guess it's nice to have that one central place where you can get everything you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, like literally a year after all of that, I met.
Say, fam, you want me to bleep that?
We're gonna bleep that. Yeah. We're gonna bleep that. It's cool.
Yeah, bleep that. I met my partner, and we immediately, we immediately started bonding over Death Note. And
really? But
yeah.
But you said she didn't watch it.
So young. That shit was like, it's fine.
No, she read the manga. She read the manga.
Okay.
As a kid, she was exclusively a manga reader, and like every time she would read the manga, every time she would read a manga, she wouldn't want to watch the anime because she felt like it wouldn't live up to her expectations.
Hey, she just like me for real.
Yeah,
I used to do the same shit.
I mean, I don't usually watch and read. I'm usually an either or kind of person.
But yeah,
anyways,
we kind of like. Oh yeah, I forgot about. I'm not gonna get back to it. I kind of skipped over a part. I got a part where I got super into like semi-socialist societies and like this basically good, like this like social welfare shit. So I was like really into like Scandinavia, Denmark, and I realized there were some better. Japan isn't perfect, but there are some better social. Like healthcare systems and whatnot in Japan compared to the U.S. Well, everyone's better than the U.S.
I mean, like the Japanese government has an infinite list of problems, and that's just saying how shitty America is. That it does better than America on pretty much all of them. Mm-hmm. So, like on like every metric, just about. Their politicians are even younger than ours. Like for as old as their politicians are here, their politicians are younger than ours. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Oh no, today I fucking learned. Oh no,
it's bad.
That's wild. But to
be fair, none of the politicians are frozen on live TV yet, so none of them are fucking blue screened in front of a live studio audience and shit.
We just all watched that man have a stroke on live television.
Twice,
and like maybe both. We watched that man die, clinically be dead for 30 seconds. Like,
right?
The fuck?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
move on.
fast forward to getting
But
on a
yeah,
plane.
that's basically all of it.
How
Huh?
did I mean, like
What?
your parents were immigrants, and you are now an immigrant.
Yeah,
And so now the
yeah,
next
yeah.
generation has to immigrate somewhere else, Mars, I guess.
Mm, probably,
Good luck.
probably.
Good luck.
We just keep immigrating all around the world.
Right. River kids, bitch. How old were you when you started watching Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, whichever one you watched first?
Too young to remember. I was kind of like born with it.
Right.
No, I say I honestly do not remember. Like I feel like Dragon Ball was there from the jump for me. Like
Oh, it
it's
quite
one of
literally
my like
was.
drag yeah, Dragon Ball, like WWF, and like Sonic the Hedgehog were like my three earliest memories.
Oh, okay. See, I'm a couple years older than you, so I do have a runway where I remember like Voltron,
Yeah.
Thundercats, He-Man, G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
Captain Planet, the Ninja Turtles. I remember those things
Yeah.
first. I remember anime entering my life starting around kindergarten because that was Pokemon and not I think Pokemon was in kindergarten or first grade, one of
Nah,
those.
bruh. Later. Pokemon. When I started watching Pokemon, I was like in sixth grade. So you must have been about third or fourth.
You're right. Oh my gosh, you're right. Wait, I'm thinking of Power Rangers
Oh yeah, Power Rangers. Yeah,
was
yeah,
kindergarten.
yeah,
Power
yeah,
Rangers was
yeah, yeah.
kindergarten for me. That's about right. Yeah, you're right. So I remember when Pokemon came out, watching it with my friends. I remember Dragon Ball Z coming to Toonami because I
Mm-hmm.
started going to my grandma's house and she had access to Toonami.
Hmm.
So that was when I could watch it because they didn't have Cartoon Network didn't reach to every region in the U.S.
Yeah, we talked
and
about
I
this
was in a
before. Yeah,
region that didn't have it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
dude.
remember starting to watch all of the old Toonami lineup from Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing,
Hmm.
the
Ronin
rotating block of like
Warriors.
Ronin Warriors, Big O,
Yeah.
all of that. I remember those.
I was
Hmm.
the perfect age for Toonami because Toonami started like at the last few months of my fifth grade year, and then by the time I was in sixth grade, so like the very beginning of middle school for me was when they started airing anime. So that's when they had the rights to Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, all kind of good stuff. I was just part. What are
The
there's such a
OG
huge.
Gundam Wing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
But actually, like I really get frustrated. Like I wish I was little bit older because like I remember watching Gundam as a kid, but like not like I was like, oh, I like this. This reminds me of Transformers. This is cool, and but I didn't really fully understand it, so I didn't really connect with it as much, and I kind of left it as I
I'm
got a
gonna
bit
keep it a buck with
older. I
you.
never went back.
I never
Yeah.
understood Gundam Wing when I first watched it as a kid, and I haven't gone back to watch Gundam Wing. I know it was
It's too
about
late.
politics,
It's too
but
late.
I no no no, I watched Gundam Wing. I watched Endless Waltz when it premiered on TV. You know what I'm
Yeah, but it's too
saying?
late to like get into it. Like if you didn't get
No,
into it
yeah, I'm
then,
never gonna go back and
it's
watch
too late.
Gundam from. But I got into like G Gundam. G Gundam was my shit.
Yeah,
The original
dope.
Mobile Suit Gundam. I love when they went back and showed Mobile Suit Gundam. I was like, yo, this is legit. Um,
Uh,
but I
the-
couldn't tell you the plot of Gundam Wing with a gun to my head. I would be
oh
like,
shit,
it was a
really?
bunch of dudes with pilots. They were new types. They were special kids. The one kid was an assassin. The other chick was bad at politics. I don't know. Please don't kill me. I couldn't tell you the plot.
Mhm.
They weren't new types because new types didn't exist in that particular alternative universe. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Weren't they
The,
modified in some way though?
they were modified, yeah. But I forget what they were called. Eh, anyway, at least the English version didn't have the word new type in it.
No, you're right.
But
Maybe they weren't called new types in English, but they were special. Is the point because
yeah, they
that's
were
why they were
special.
able to pilot
Hmm.
Gundams.
Yeah.
They were special boys.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're what got me into BL, and it's been forever, and here we are today. But the reason I bring up Dragon Ball is because I want to ask you guys, as at any point did Mr. Popo bother you, and how did you feel about him?
Honestly, Mr. Popo and Jinx, I learned about that way later in life. To be honest, I didn't really
Yeah.
think about it at the time, and it was like much later. Like I think I was probably high school, beginning of college when I started to realize. Like I looking back, it's like I heard people talking about. I was like, hey, what are they talking about? What's the issue with those characters? And I look back like, oh
Oh,
damn.
oh,
I mean, like,
oh,
but
Naruto.
I still go at it with like it's kind of hard because this also connects with Jinx. Jinx is supposed to be like a Garu, like that's
Yeah.
kind of the inspiration. And Garu, it does have some like it's basically they will never admit it, but Garu is inspired by like the black uh teenage style from the like '90s or whatever. or
Yeah.
80s or
100%.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so like it is kind of what you call that? Not a caricature, but it's not straight up blackface, kind of. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't think they went in with that intention. It just kind of like it just looks bad. It just looks
Word.
bad. Yeah.
Word.
But at the same time, I don't really have that deep of a
A feeling,
connection.
any
Yeah.
emotions about it?
Yeah. Like you already know how I feel about a lot of things. If it's pissing off enough people and it doesn't hurt anyone to change it, like just changing it slightly doesn't hurt anybody, I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
Mr. Popo. I don't know how to describe it because I learned about like black stereotypes and stuff as a kid, and I separated that in my mind from Dragon Ball because I also realized that Dragon Ball is a parody of so much stuff. Like everything
Yeah.
is a reference to something. So when I saw that, oh, Mr. Popo is a parody of that, like it's not a good thing to me. But as a kid, I remember being honest, like, oh, Japanese people just have never met black people. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And also,
Yeah.
I remember when Tsunami started airing the original Dragon Ball. And the
Yeah.
original Dragon Ball was such an eye opener that, oh, this whole show is not serious. It's a giant piss take of Chinese mythology,
Yes.
of Japanese mythology, of Western pop culture. Because, yes, all the black people look like racist stereotypes now, but that's because this is where they were getting their pop culture stereotypes from. There's also
Yeah.
a bunch of blonde hair, blue eyed white dudes who look like
Who are
um,
yokels?
Bruce Willis. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like Bruce Willis and Jean Claude Van Damme and other like white dudes of the era. And it's like, oh, a lot of anime from the 80s and 90s was just like riffing off of 80s and 90s pop culture because it was booming in Japan. That doesn't make
Yeah.
it okay, but I understand the influences they were drawing on. And I never really gave a shit about Mr. Popo like that. Like in terms of top tier characters, I cared more about Gohan. I didn't care about Mr. Popo. Like I just didn't give a
Go
shit.
on. I feel that. I feel that. Uh, I'm rewatching a lot of Dragon Ball recently. Like way too much. Way a lot of Dragon Ball. And I don't remember what Popo sounded like in the dub, but in the Japanese, he's like, I don't know. I said he's dumb. Like he doesn't. He's mentally behind everybody else. Like he doesn't really
Oh.
speak in full sentences. He's like a caveman, and
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay.
Mm.
I don't think he was like that in the dub.
In the
Uh,
dub, he wasn't. He spoke slowly, but you could tell he
No,
was like,
no.
he was like speaking wisely. Like he was just like, "No, you can't do that, bro. You're not ready." And he was
yeah,
like,
he doesn't really use particles in Japanese. He has
"Oh,
kind of stunted grammar. He sounds like a caveman.
Oh.
Uh,
oh, I didn't know all that. That
Oh
feels
no.
bad now."
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, but also it still doesn't really bother me that much, if I'm perfectly honest. Like, I don't really care enough for it to like hurt my feelings, because it's kind of like being a black woman and listening to like hip hop music, and they're like, bitch ho, I'ma get
He
me
ain't
twelve
talking
thousand
about
votes.
me.
He ain't
Yeah,
talking about me, right?
yeah.
He ain't talking about me. I really don't care,
Mhm.
right? You
I
can
mean,
have
I
your little
think
like,
you can have your hurt feelings, right? But like,
right, but
I'm
like
here to dance. I'm here
I'm
to
here to dance.
dance.
Like, this
Yeah,
ain't about me. Like, I'm
yeah.
very confident in myself. Ain't no nigga talking to me like that. Like, that's how they talk to me. So I'm fine.
I think this is coming in waves because that's how a lot of our generation of like viewers grew up. Because when
Yeah,
I was a kid, none of my fellow black anime friends, the few that they were, who
yeah,
talked about Dragon Ball Z, made any noise about Mr. Popo being racist.
yeah.
Maybe as
Yeah,
a joke
nah.
once to
Nobody,
go LOL, but like nobody. This is a very new niggas type conversation. These young
right?
niggas, these kids today, is very much these youths,
Yeah.
you know? And it's
And
fine.
and the youths
But
call us cucked for it.
nah, nah, honestly, nah. They're just the youths are they're stupid because they're youths. Honestly, they're having their moment. Like they're discovering anime and they need to have their take and interpretation of anime the same way that like when we were younger and like we liked Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing, but there were ancient anime fans who liked
Yeah,
Astro Boy and like Robotech and Macross who were like, these kids today with their fancy big titty girls. Back in my day, we had fucking Urusei Yatsura, and it was wonderful. We had
I
dub
don't
tapes. You
I
know,
don't know where
That's all it
I
is. That
watched
is all
this.
it is.
I watched Urusei Yatsura and Macross, and I don't know how. I do because
I
I've
did
seen those
not.
entire series, and
Hmm.
I didn't even see all of Ranma, and Ranma was like I think easier to get my hands on at the time. So I have no idea where this came from, but I still like can sing all the Macross songs. Like my brother was also really into it. I guess I don't know where that like bit of weird anime esoteria came from, but I think also because we just grew up more able to accept things as they are rather than say that they need to change for our sake. It's like you go into
We
it and
also
either you like it or you don't. If you
Hmm.
don't like it, you go to something else.
Yeah.
we also were reinforced heavily with the idea that like racism is more or less a dying thing, and if we just work hard and live
Yes.
true to ourselves, we can grow up to be whatever we want. So we came at it with the mentality of like, I'm not going to let that bother me because I shine so brightly that you won't be able to ignore me, and I'm going to be whatever I want,
Mm,
even if this like racist stereotype from before is still around. I'm going to give
mm,
you. I'm going to overshadow that racist stereotype by being so incredible that you can't say that to me. But like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's a generational thing. It's generational.
yeah.
Like, you know,
I was trying to think about like what I thought about racism when I was a kid because I already told y'all like I went to a Catholic school where we had two teachers in particular that were very very proactive in making sure we understood racism. We had a music
Mm,
teacher who would like act more like a historian and a philosopher than a music teacher, and we
did,
had a library teacher who made sure we were up on all of the books. Like I'm telling you, like these two teachers would make sure we watched Ruby every fucking year. They made sure we knew uh, how racist the school system has been within like the recent history, like within like just our parents' generation, and they made sure we understood. But like I never took what I learned from them, into like modern media. I don't know why.
mm.
Like like I would see racist shit, like especially like I told you I grew up on watching WWF and WWE, and there's a lot of fucking racist shit in that. And I recognized it, but I still never really
It didn't put you off
felt
of
some type.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
interesting. That's interesting.
And then with anime, I kind of gave it a like kind of like,
A
oh, it's
pass.
from a different place. They don't probably really
They
know
don't
type deal.
understand.
Yeah. Uh.
and to be fair, a lot of anime from when we were kids was made by people who were like 30 and 40-year-old adults who genuinely didn't know better. Like
Mhm.
when they
Yeah.
were children, you have to think about it, when they were children, it would have been when our parents were children, post-war kids who had never really been outside of Japan, who were getting very filtered, again, 1980s pop culture references
Exactly.
when like movies came to Japan, when
I
they
mean,
like the boom
absolutely,
era.
absolutely. I mean,
Like
Dragon
there
Ball is
were.
from 1986 to 1986 to 1992, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of. I mean, what can I say? Like, what did they know at the time about like how to, anything outside of Japan, let alone,
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of translated copies of bell hooks in Japanese
right,
bookstores. You know what I mean? They weren't they weren't hearing about Farrakhan. They didn't hear any.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. I'm rewatching Dragon Ball right now, and what I'm noticing, because this is my first time, of course, watching like the series itself in Japanese, and I finally have gotten used to Nozawa's voice, because
I will never. I will never. I refuse.
whose
She just
voice?
sounds like a grandma. She has the most grandma ass voice. It's like a caricature of a grandma. That's her voice. It's
I mean,
like I'm waiting for Goku to like go pour me some tea and like check like if I've been eating enough. And
okay, okay, but in GT, right? She plays Big Goku, Little Goku, Grown Up Goten, and Grown Up Gohan, and her voice changes a lot because she's four different characters and ages and stuff, and
Mhm.
like that helped me get kind of get used to her.
Do you know
You
what
know what I
this
mean?
reminds me of? It reminds me of Bart Simpson. Because
Yeah.
Bart Simpson has had the same voice for 30 years, but
Hmm.
sometimes they'll do an episode in the future where Bart is an adult, and it's the same actress, just
Yeah.
aging the voice up.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I get how if you grew up listening to her as Goku, like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Like
Mhm.
she is revered here. I don't know of any other Seiyu that could just like
Yeah.
when she walks into the room, people like bow. Like people just like
Yeah.
they revere
Mhm.
that motherfucker. They love her. God damn. But like, but also just me because Goku's a bumpkin, and like her take on him as a bumpkin, it's fine. It's fine. I'm cool with it now. I'm cool with it now. On the conversely, watching it in English during the baby arc, impossible because they take it so seriously. No, Lord Baby, like I can't. I am unable. I am absolutely come on. Are
Lord
you trying?
baby.
You trying to get me
Baby
to take
summer.
this? You trying to get me to take this seriously in English? You calling a nigga baby? And you like what's his name? The dude who voices Goku, something Schimmel, Sean Schimmel, I guess is his name. Like he does a great job, but then he talks to baby, and it's like I cannot. I am unable.
Is he like baby?
Let
Baby! Baby!
I forget where I was going with any of the story.
I never made it to the baby arc in GT, so I never heard Vegeta get real angry about it. Like, baby!
Lord, I'm
Oh,
oh
no.
my god, like I don't know how they managed to like in the studio, like
Just like,
legit.
baby, I am the prince of all Saiyans.
Lord, Lord, Lord have mercy. Okay, let me break down what this even is. Okay, so the video has traditional Chinese, right? And it says "这是厉害的厕所," okay, which translated literally is like this bathroom is wilding. The opening text is in traditional Chinese, but where this was shared on Instagram was in simplified Chinese. So the sharer is sharing a video that does not belong to him, right? And where we get this video from says this is a comedy club, but some other people are saying that it's a love hotel. So it's one or the two, probably.
Wow. Either way, I feel very uncomfortable. I mean, not uncomfortable. It just feels like so much effort for like bad puns.
Right?
I don't know. It's
Okay,
such
you
high
go into
effort.
a play. You go into a bathroom and that's there. What do you do?
Yeah.
Do you hold your laughter in?
Not at all. I mean, obviously, I get the full experience. Why would I not? I didn't build the goddamn place. It's not my fault. It's like this. But like, the fuck, bro. Like, I don't know what to say.
I'm trying to remember what do they say? Let me listen to it again real quick.
One of them just makes a gasping noise. The other one says like "me next," but it's like
Yeah,
Oji-san. So it's like, "Hey, Mister, like elderly or older man, me next," and it's like, that's like
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
I have to ask. At what point when you're building this do you go, someone's gonna actually try to fuck this? I'm building a statue that someone's gonna try to
Oh,
fuck. Do
oh,
you have?
but there aren't any.
Is there some sort of countdown to like when some dude gets caught trying to actually hump the sink? Like,
But there aren't any holes, are there?
no, that's has that ever
I thought
stopped
it
horny?
was.
Has do you think that's gonna stop someone who really wants it?
So I'm looking at the video right now, and like there are no holes, but there are thighs.
See? See? Do you see? My man's already saw a solution. It took him 30 seconds. Solution.
It took 30 seconds. This is a sin. This is whoever made that's going to hell.
Oh, absolutely cursed.
So this
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I thought it was funny, but like I've seen more cursed toilets. Like like have
Yes.
you ever seen those like weird like yeah? I've seen worse toilets, so this didn't actually like put me off that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Same. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's cute. It's definitely like that's what gets me. Like, this is clearly a prank and not meant to be taken seriously. It's fine to have this kind of fun, but also like it's the kind of fun that your uncle would think is funny from like just a different time period. Like that would only be funny once. If I ever went to that bathroom again, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to use that. It's like, okay, now it's uncomfortable.
Right? I mean, like, I wouldn't want that to, like, imagine you go to your friend's house and that's just like their default bathroom. Like, nah, that would strain
Yeah.
our relationship.
But
No,
Yeah, we're not meeting at your place anymore if
mhm.
that's what
no,
you got
I
going
don't
on in
really.
your house.
No.
Like it's fine, you do you, but like
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
to have to
nah,
go
yeah,
twice, like two or three
nah.
times in one
Hmm.
visit. You know what I mean? The average of like a house party, you go to the bathroom maybe two, three
Oh
times.
my God.
Yeah,
Probably not. I wouldn't be
I'm
down with it.
good.
But like, when it was going viral on Instagram and Twitter by people who aren't in this part of the world, what a lot of the consensus was Japan is a sick country full of perverts. This is openly pedophilic, and only in a country full of pedophiles would this be acceptable. And this is why we should have Japan harder, and shit like that. So a lot of hatred,
Where did the
basically.
pedophilia come from?
Yeah, that's a
Where did the
wild take. A lot of
pedophilia?
people are just dumb. A lot of people are just
Like,
dumb. Honestly, we listen to too many dumb
I don't.
people.
No, I'm just trying to figure out where the jump to pedophilia came from because these
Yeah,
don't
how
look
did we get
like
here?
children. Like, no, these they don't even have upper bodies. What? Like,
To make
this
that
is like,
call.
yeah, you were looking for something. You were
And
reaching
in
there.
the video, there's not enough like there's somehow not enough visual information to get a proper sense of scale of how
Yeah,
tall anything is or anyone
yeah,
is.
yeah,
So they're just normal human sized things. It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
yeah.
It's
So
not that
there,
deep.
so there's two things that separate us from that crowd. One is that we've lived in Japan/Asia for entirely too long, so we know people
Yeah.
who like either deliberately or otherwise affect that high pitched voice. Like it's like a thing that some adult women
Mhm.
do. It's like
Oh
not
yeah, women in their
weird.
fucking goddamn
Yeah.
40s. Yeah.
Women do that, right? They just it's actually kind of normal, but also just in anime, it's hyper normal, right? Like it's just like something that is everywhere. It's not necessarily indicative of age. There are other sort of cues that happen in anime that let you know a character's age, but that kind of squeaky voice is not usually one of them. And in regular everyday life, women will just do that. It's usually an affect. It's usually not their natural voice,
Yeah.
but it is just a thing that women do. And so we don't really we don't our minds don't go in that direction. And it made me think, like, how much shit outside of Japan do like Westerners just think is naturally pedophilic that we are just blind to at this point from living here.
Oh, I mean most things, but like
Yeah.
the West is also completely brain broken about the concept of pedophiles, which is just a conversation we might not be ready to have right now in this format. But the West
Probably
is
not.
brain broken about looking for that. Um, and that's a whole. That's not Japan's fault.
Yeah, that's not specifically a Japan thing. It's probably an Asian thing. But outside of like the pedophile accusations, which I think are really silly, the idea that Japan is this sex crazed country where everything is hentai, everything's weird, everything's it's a country of porn addicts kind of thing. I see that take almost like weekly. Like I see it a lot, and I don't really know why. Like I mean, I live here, I go outside, and I exist in the world, and I just don't see it. I just
It's
don't really.
because of Japan Life YouTubers. Japan Life Western YouTubers must be banned, deported,
Mhm.
shut down, seize their channels.
Oh
Japan
man.
Life YouTubers don't ever do anything to show you that type stuff.
Well, like
Or some shitty like BBC Associated Press article will get poorly translated with a bad quote and say something something Japan likey boner, women go boner. And it's just like,
yikes.
all right, here we go again. Like a lot of it's just bad. It's just bad reporting.
Yeah.
But that also existed before the Japan Life YouTubers. I think it's the
Yeah.
issue that like
Oh,
people
exactly.
people can't separate the body from sex, especially the female body from sex. They see the female body as a sexual object.
Hmm.
So, like, even though like they're just fucking people are people, and like there's a lot of like boob comedy in Japan, and which like some people like I would just say for me I'm not really into that. I think I just kind of find it cringy. In the end, I don't really care that much to be honest. Uh, but people see that like, oh look, they're every joke is about someone tripping and falling on boobs, and like so they're so obsessed with sex. They everyone prays that they're gonna do that, but in the end, it's just supposed to be funny. It's just supposed to be
It's just,
cringy,
yeah,
and
it's just a comedy. It's
you
just a
can
form
you can
of
see it as
of,
funny
of
or not,
physical
but
comedy. Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's
Well, there's a lot of like cute
yeah.
genitalia stuff. Like there's like a
I think
bar
most
where
people don't
everything
really
is
see it that. Like,
they think of it as inherently sexual rather than being funny, right? So like there's like this bar where all of the bottles are dicks and
Huh?
like or semen, like everything's either
Yeah.
dick or semen themed, but it's just jokes. There are bakeries that have like cute little titties, but they're a joke. It's
But
a
like,
thing here.
I saw in the gift shop somewhere. I want to say it was in Osaka, and this might have been a minute ago, but they were definitely selling those like titty pudding cups. Y'all never seen this? It's literally just called
Probably.
oppai pudding. It's
Mhm.
oppai pudding. I've seen. Oh, okay, and
Yeah, I've
it's
seen it.
just literally pudding, but shaped like titties.
Like they even have it in like Crayon Shin-chan, which is a children's show, where like every episode he's
Yes.
taking his ass out, or like you see his dick or something like that.
Every
And like
episode is ass and balls, ass and
and
balls,
the
ass
only
and
place
balls.
that the only place that has played in America is on Adult Swim. Like they
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
in
how,
the West
I
see it
just
as
recently learned that Shin-chan played in America. How? You can't like
yeah
just show a little
On
kid's
Adult Swim, and
yeah
it
on
was
Adult
dubbed
Swim.
over the way
It was
that
on
like
Adult Swim. Yeah.
but you
yeah,
still
the way
can't
that
show a
Ghost
little
Story
kid
was dubbed.
balls in America. You can't just do that.
It played at like I
You
remember
can,
watching
actually.
it. It
Eh?
played at like 1 or 2 a.m. like super late.
Yeah.
Like yeah, you
Oh, really?
can.
I
And
But it's
noticed
for
technically,
that
it's
the
for like
cable.
young children here, though. It's for babies
Yeah.
in this country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but like American censors, weirdly enough, still allowed like Crayon Shin-chan's ass or like Goku's little weird baby dick sometimes. Like the
Yeah.
censorship is very weird.
Technically, as long as you're on cable television, as long as you're not on basic television, you can show
Yeah.
whatever you want. They just have like their own internal restrictions.
Yeah.
So
That's true. That's true.
it's
I was
only like yeah.
I watched the most recent, or maybe not the most recent, but a relatively recent Shin-chan movie, and like I think I can count the number of butt and ball references at like well over 30, and like there's like even a scene in like the climax where Shin-chan is like he's like diving, and then he clutches on like he saves his life by clasping on to the hero's testicles, right? And so there's just like this.
Mm.
He's just like holding on for dear life to these giant balls, right? And that's just it's just
Like
funny.
this is what I'm saying. Like I'm laughing. It's funny, but it's still cringe. But it's
It's
just
so
so
silly.
dumb. It's so dumb. It's so funny. It's ridiculous. Like I just have the image in my head, and now I can't.
It's so dumb, bro.
Yeah, being here has definitely broken our brains in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's true. Sad but true.